Hello students, hope you are all following the lectures. So in the last class we started the statistics. Now let us continue our discussion on that. So we discussed about the measures of dispersion in case of ungrouped data. Now we will see if group data is given, how to find the measures of dispersion. That is mean deviation and then standard deviation that we are studying. Okay. So in case of group data, so here group data means they will be given the observations and the frequencies. Okay. So using these observations and frequencies, how to find the mean deviation. So first we see mean deviation. So mean deviation about the mean. So it is given by the formula sigma modulus of xi minus x bar into fi divided by sigma fi. Okay. So mean deviation about the mean, the formula is sigma modulus of xi minus x bar into fi divided by sigma fi. So this is the mean deviation about the mean. If I want the mean deviation about the median, mean deviation about the median. So it is given by the formula sigma modulus of xi minus m, where m is the median, into fi divided by sigma f. So using this formula, we can find the mean deviation about the median. Okay. So this is the mean deviation. Now we will see what is the standard deviation. Okay. So again, for finding the standard deviation, we have to use the variance. Standard deviation divided by sigma. So before finding the standard deviation, first you have to find the variance. So variance sigma square. In case of the group data, it is given by sigma xi minus x bar whole square into fi divided by sigma fi. Variance sigma square is given by sigma modulus of xi minus x bar whole square into fi divided by sigma fi. So this is one formula. Now if I simplify this, it also can be written as simplified form of this is sigma xi square into fi divided by sigma fi minus x bar square, means mean square. Okay. So using this formula, solving the xi minus x bar whole square and multiplying with frequencies, sometimes it will be lengthy. So in such case, the simplified form of this formula, it can be written as sigma xi square into fi divided by sigma fi minus x bar square, where x bar is the mean. Okay. So this is the variance. Now once we know variance, we can write the standard deviation as standard deviation sigma equal to square root of variance. Standard deviation defined as square root of variance. So sigma equal to variance we are writing as sigma xi square into fi divided by sigma fi minus x bar square. So this is the standard deviation in case of group data. Okay. Next. So after studying about mean, median, mode, then mean deviation and standard deviation, now we should be able to analyze the given data. Okay. So analyze and interpret it. So if the marks of some students is given, so what I need is I want to find what is the performance of the class. Okay, how is the performance of the class? Is it good or bad? Now that can be decided based on the average of the class. Okay, so we'll find the average based on the average. If average is good, then we can say that most of the students scored well. So the performance of the class is good. If average is less, means more number of students got less marks. So we can say the performance is not so good. Okay, now that will be decided based on the mean. Okay, that is the average of the students. Now if you want to compare one section students with the other section students, okay, now for comparison of two organizations or two sections or two persons like this, now we need one more term. Okay, so that is called coefficient of variation. Coefficient of variation, written as CV, coefficient of variation. So it is defined as CV is equal to sigma by x bar into 100. Okay, CV equal to sigma by x bar into 100. So for two different data given, we will be finding this coefficient of variation value. Now based on this coefficient of variation value, now we can say out of the two groups or two organizations given, which organization is performing well. Okay, so that will be decided based on this CV. Now we will find what is the CV value for that two organizations given. Now coefficient of variation. If coefficient of variation is more, so variation is more means stability is less. So stability is less means performance is not so good. Okay, so CV is more, performance is not good. CV is less, coefficient of variation is less means variation is less. So variation is less means stability is more, so performance will be good. Okay, so by using the CV, now we can compare the performance of any two groups or organizations. Okay, so this is a coefficient of variation. Next, we will find combined mean. Combined mean. Now let us say that some distributions are given, okay, with their means and how many observations are given in that each of the distribution. Okay, suppose they are given some k distributions. Okay, assume that there are given k distributions. Now for this k distributions, k distributions are given. Now for each of these distributions, what we are given is their mean is given and how many observations are present, that is also given. Okay, suppose that distributions having means x1 bar, x2 bar, x3 bar and so on up to xk bar. So these are the means of this k distributions with each distribution having n1 observations here, n2 observations, n3 observations and so on up to nk observations. So we are given this much of distributions having their means and having this much of observations in each of the distribution. Then the combined mean so it is given by x1 bar into n1 plus x2 bar into n2, x3 bar into n3 and so on, xk bar into nk divided by n1 plus n2 plus n3 up to nk. Okay. you have to find the combined mean of these A distributions. Okay, so these much of distributions are given. Now for all the distributions, I want to find what is the combined mean. So for combined mean, you have to remember this formula. Okay, so we are multiplying these means with the number of observations for each of these distributions and taking the sum divided by the sum of observations, okay, in each of these distributions. So this is a formula for combined mean. Okay. Next, we'll study one important formula. We studied about mean, variance and standard deviation for the given data. Now what will happen to this mean, variance and standard deviation if we change the observations? Okay, suppose if each observation is increased by some number, or each observation is decreased by some number, or each observation is multiplied by some constant, then what will happen to mean and variance and then standard deviation? Okay, so that we will be studying now. So this is important. In case of examination, they will be concentrating more on for this type of concepts. Okay, suppose we are given a distribution with the variable x is given. Okay, for some data or distribution given, that is we are taking as variable x. Now for this distribution, suppose if mean and variance standard deviation is given. Okay, so let us take mean is mu. Next we will be studying in terms of variance. Okay, you know variance means we can find standard deviation, that is the square root of variance. Variance equal to sigma c. Okay. Now these observations we can take in the form x can be taken in the form x1, x2, x3 up to some xn. Okay. Variable x is given means we can take that observation as x1, x2, x3 up to xn. Now, if each of these observations we are multiplying some constant or dividing some constant or adding some constant, subtracting some constant, then what will happen to this new mean and the new variance? Okay, so that we'll see. Now we'll multiply, add and subtract these observations. So let us take the variable as is ax plus b. So if the variable is in the form ax plus b, means for each of these observations x, we are multiplying the constant a, each of the observations multiplied by a, and we are adding some constant b. Okay. So now what will be the observations? The observations will become ax1 plus b, ax2 plus b, ax3 plus b, and so on, axn plus b. So each of the observation will get multiplied by a constant and added by the constant b. Okay. Now for this new data, what will be the mean and what will be the variance? Okay. So formula here, new mean. The new mean is, if the original mean is the mu, now the new mean will become a into mu plus b. Okay, the new mean is a into mu plus b, means the mean also will get multiplied by a and then added by the constant b, whereas the new variance it will be affected only by this constant multiplied, that is a. So new variance is this a square times sigma square. Okay, so new variance is a square times sigma square, whereas the new mean is a mu plus b. So we can see that the variance is not affected by the constant we are adding. Okay, so any constant we add to these observations, the variance remains the same. It is not affected by the constant that we added. Now variance will affect only when we are multiplying each of the observations with some constant a. Whereas mean depends both on a and b values, whereas variance depends only on the a value but not the b. Similarly, standard deviation also. Now what will be the new standard deviation? This a times sigma. Here standard deviation is sigma if I take. Now the new standard deviation will become a times sigma. Okay. So this is important. Most of the problems can be solved easily if you can remember this formulas. Okay. For the given distribution, mean variance is given. Now for this new observations, what will be the mean and the variance? Okay. Right. Now let us start the problems based on this statistics. See the question. If a variable takes the values 0, 1, 2 up to n with frequencies proportional to the binomial coefficients nc0, nc1 up to ncn, then the mean of distribution is. So we have to find the mean of distribution here, where a variable is taking the values 0, 1 up to n. So here variable is given, variable x is given, and their frequencies are given. So x means is observation, frequencies fi given, variable xi is given. So what are the xi values here? 0, 1, up to n. And given that the frequencies are proportional to binomial coefficients. So frequencies are proportional to binomial coefficients means, are they equal to binomial coefficients? No. Proportional means we take proportionality constant. Suppose k is the proportionality constant. So frequencies is k into nc0, k into nc1, k into nc2 and so on, k into ncn. Okay. So observations are given, their corresponding frequencies are given. Now we have to find what is the mean of distribution. So this is group data. So in case of this group data, we have to find the mean. So what is the mean formula in case of group data? Is sigma xi into fi divided by sigma fi. So you have to multiply these observations with their corresponding frequencies and take the summation. So multiply and add 0 into this 0, 1 into k into nc1. So it is k into nc1, 2 into k into nc2, 2k into nc2 and so on. N into k into ncn. So it is n k into ncn. Total divided by sigma fi, sum of frequencies. So sum of frequencies is k into nc0, k into nc1 up to k into ncn. So we have to find this value. This is 0. Now in the numerator we can take k common, and denominator also k common, it will get cancelled. So whatever be the proportionality constant k, it does not depend on the mean because it will get cancelled. So remaining in the numerator is nc1, 2 into nc2, next 3 into NC3 and so on up to n into NCn divided by k is cancelled. So NC0 plus NC1 NC2 up to NCn. Now we need to find this value. What is NC1 plus 2 into NC2, 3 into NC3 up to n into NCn. If you observe denominator, NC0 plus NC1 plus NC2 up to NCn. Now that we studied in binomial theorem. So this is the sum of binomial coefficients starting from NC0 up to NCn. This is 2 power n. So we know denominator is 2 power n, but we don't know what is the numerator. NC1 plus 2 into NC2, 3 into NC3 up to n into NCn. Now for finding this value, okay, now we have to go back to binomial theorem and some concept of differentiation. So based on that we can find what is this value. Now let us see. Since we know the expansion for 1 plus x whole power n, what is the expansion for 1 plus x whole power n? It is NC0 NC1 into x NC2 x square and so on up to NCn into x power n. If I take any x equal to 1 in this, already we have seen in binomial theorem, if x is 1 means we get 2 power n equal to NC0 plus NC1 plus NC2 up to NCn. So that already we know. That is the sum of binomial coefficients. So denominator we know 2 power n. But we want to get 1 into NC1, 2 into NC2, 3 into NC3 up to n into NCn. So how to get n into NCn? Now by differentiating this, x power n we know. So if we differentiate this, then we get n into x power n minus n. So differentiate first on both sides. With respect to x. Differentiate on both sides with respect to x. So what is the derivative of this? 1 plus x whole power n. It is n into 1 plus x whole power n minus 1 into derivative of 1 plus x is 1 only. Now NC0 will get NC0 is constant, derivative is 0. Next NC1 derivative of x is 1 plus NC2 into x square. X square derivative is 2x. Next we have NC3 into 3x square and so on. Last term n into NCn into n into x power n minus n. This is the derivative of x power n. Now in this we will substitute x equal to 1. Okay? If we substitute x equal to 1, then we get the required summation. Let x equal to 1. So what we get? N into 2 power n minus 1 is equal to NC1 2 into 1 2 NC2 3 into 1 square d into NC3 and so on. Last term is n into NC. So the summation NC1 plus 2 into NC2 3 into NC3 up to n into NCn, it is n into 2 power n minus 1. Okay, so let us substitute that here. Numerator summation is n into 2 power n minus 1 divided by denominator summation is 2 power n. So that will be n by 2. 2 power n will get cancelled. So required mean it is n by 2. Okay. So we are using the concept of binomial theorem for finding this sum of terms. We have to use this expansion for 1 plus x whole power n. If I directly substitute x equal to 1, we get sum of binomial coefficients, that is 2 power n, denominator we know. But to get numerator term, first we have to differentiate this, then substitute x equal to 1. Then we get the required summation in the numerator. Understand? Right. Now let us see next question. The mean of 100 items is 49. It was discovered that 3 items which should have been 60, 70, 80 were wrongly read as 40, 20, 50 respectively. Then the correct mean is. So given that the mean of 100 items is 49. So we are taking 100 observations. Now for these 100 observations, the mean is given 49. Now later it was discovered that 3 items which should have been 60, 70, 80. So these are the correct values 60, 70, 80 were wrongly read as 40, 20 and 50. Means we have taken these 3 observations wrong and we got the mean as 49. Okay. So in that 100 items we have taken 97 items are correct, but we have wrongly taken 3 items as 40, 20 and 50, and by taking these observations we got the mean as 49. Now in place of these wrong 3 items, if I take the correct 3 items, now what will be the correct mean? So that we have to find. Now for finding the correct mean, what we should know is, we should know the values of all the remaining 97 correct values. Okay. So if you know the 97 correct values, and here we are given the 3 correct values 60, 70 and 80, then we can find what is the correct mean. Okay. So what we do is, let us take the 97 observations as given mean. Mean x bar is given 49. Now this 49 is for this wrong readings 40, 20 and 50. Okay. So how can I get mean formula? Mean is sigma xi by n. It is given 49. What is sigma xi here? Sum of the 100 observations. Now let us take the observations as x1, x2, x3 up to x100, and take it as up to x97, and assume that the last 3 observations are 40, 20 and 50. Divided by n is 100 is equal to 49. Now you can take anywhere these 3 observations, no problem. You can take at the starting or we can take at the end. So anywhere you take, the answer will be same. So this is the mean given. 49 is the mean by taking that 3 wrong readings as 40, 20 and 50. Now from this, can you find the value for this sum of 97 observations? These observations are correct. Only these 3 are wrong. So from this, let us find what is this value. So x1 plus x2 plus up to x97 is 4900 minus this is 70, 110. So what is the value? 4790. Right. So this is the sum of this correct 97 values. Now we need the correct mean. Now can we take the correct mean? Suppose we take as mu. Correct mean. So what is the correct mean? Again sigma xi by n. Sigma xi means x1 plus x2 plus x3 up to x97 plus, now what are the correct observations? The correct observations are 60, 70, 80. Divided by number of observations is 100 only. Now this value already knew. Sum of the first 97 observations is 4790 plus we get 50 210 divided by 100. will be 5000 divided by 100, which will be 50. So the correct mean will be 50 if you take the correct observations as 60, 70 and 80. Understand? So from this given data, 49 is the mean for these observations by taking wrongly 40, 20, 50. So by taking these values, we are getting mean as 49. Now from that we are finding what is the sum of the first 97 observations. If you know the sum of first 97 observations and we know the correct readings, using this we can find what is the correct mean. Okay. Now let's see next question. If a variable takes the values 0, 1 to up to n with frequencies q power n, n by 1 into q power n minus 1 into p, n into n minus 1 by 1 into 2 q power n minus 2 into p square and so on up to p power n, where p plus q is 1, then the mean is. So distribution is given, we have to find the mean of this distribution. Okay. Now variable is taking the values 0, 1 to up to n. Okay. So let us take this as grouped distribution because we are given observations and then corresponding frequencies are given. So variable x is taking the values 0, 1, 2 and so on up to n. Next, their frequencies are given q power n, n by 1 into q power n minus 1 into p, n into n minus 1 by 1 into 2 q power n minus 2 into p square and so on. Now this q power n, I write it as the frequencies q power n, I write it as nc naught into q power n because nc naught is 1. Next, n by 1 into q power n minus 1 into p. Now I will write it as n by 1 means I can write nc1 q power n minus 1 into p. Next, n into n minus 1 by 1 into 2. It is nc2 q power n minus 2 into p square and so on. Last term is p power n. I can write it as ncn into p power n. And given the condition is p plus q equal to 1. Given the condition is p plus q equal to 1. Now we need the mean of this distribution. What is the mean? So here mean is we are given the group data, so you have to find sigma xi into fi, these are observations and their corresponding frequencies are given. So you have to find sigma xi into fi divided by sigma fi. Okay, but applying that formula and multiplying and simplifying will be complex. Okay, so in such case what we do is in second year part probability and in probability binomial distribution. Okay, in case of binomial distribution we study about this variable and their frequencies. Now here frequencies we study in terms of probabilities. Okay, so we can compare this observation 0, 1, 2 up to L. The frequencies, these frequencies can be considered as probabilities in binomial distribution. So this represents the binomial distribution in probability. This represents binomial distribution in the probability. Okay. So when we study about the probability chapter, so we'll be better understanding about this concept. Okay. So there is a formula for finding the mean variance in case of this binomial distribution. Okay. So let us remember that formula. Mean is given by n into p. Okay. Mean is n into p. Okay. Next, variance. Variance is npq. Okay. So mean is np. Variance is npq. So you have to remember this formulas. Okay. Directly multiplying and simplifying will be lengthy and complex. So in such case, this represents binomial distribution in probability. So using the direct formula, you can find what is the mean and what is the variance. So just remember the formula. Mean is np, variance is npq. Okay. What is the next question? The average marks of boys in a class is 52 and that of girls is 42. The average marks of boys and girls combined is 50. The percentage of boys in the classes. So here the average of boys is given and the average of girls is given and the total average of the class, that is combined average, is also given. Now we want to find what will be the percentage of boys in the class. Okay. Now this problem is based on the combined mean. Okay. We have written formula for finding the combined mean. Now see that average marks of boys in the class is given 52. So average of boys. Average of boys is given 52. And average of girls is given 42 and the combined average is given 50. Combined average is given 50. Now we want to find what is the percentage of boys in the class. Now we don't know how many boys are there and how many girls are there in the class. Now let us assume that there be X boys and Y girls in the class. Okay, assume that there are X boys and Y girls in the class. Now the average is given. So what is the formula for combined average? Combined average formula. The average of boys is known, girls is known, their number is known. So using the formula 52 into x plus 42 into y divided by x plus 1. Combined average. What is the combined average here? 50. Okay. So let us use the combined average formula for solving this question. Solving this 50x plus 50y is equal to 52x plus 42y. Now rearranging 2x is equal to 8y or x is equal to 4y. So this is the relation between x and y. X is equal to 4y. Now what they mean is the percentage of boys in the class. So again the percentage of boys means number of boys divided by total number of students into 100. The percentage of boys in the class means number of boys divided by total number of students into 100. So number of boys by taking these x, total number of students means number of boys plus number of girls into 100. Now we know the relation between x and y. X is 4y. So substituting here, we can find the percentage of boys. 4y divided by 4y plus into 100. So 4 by 5 into 100. That will be 80. So the percentage of boys in the class is 80. Understand? So we are using the combined average because we know the average of boys, average of girls, and also the total average is given. So using combined average formula, we are forming the relation between number of boys and number of girls. Okay. Now let's see next question. The mean of n items is given x bar. If the first item is increased by 1, second by 2, and so on, then the new mean is. So observations are given and their mean is given x bar. If the first item is increased by 1, second item is increased by 2, and so on. Now we can see that each item is not increased by the same quantity here. Okay? If each item is increased by same quantity, then the average also increases by the same quantity. But we can clearly see that each observation is not increased by same quantity. First item increases by 1, second item increases by 2, third item increases by 2, and so on. Nth item is increased by n. So in such case, what will be the new mean? Now let us see what is the first mean given. Mean of n items is x bar given. Now let us take that items as x1, x2, x3 up to xn. B, the n items. So I will take the n items as x1, x2, x3 up to xn. So what is given? The mean of these items, x bar is given. What is the mean? We know sigma xi by n. So x bar is x1 plus x2 plus x3 and so on up to xn divided by n. So this we know. Now what is the new data? New observations. Now what are the new observations? Each of these given items, they are increased by, first item increased by 1. So what will be the new observation? x1 plus 1. Second item by 2. x2 plus 2. Third item is increased by 3. And so on. Up to nth item. xn is increased by n. xn plus n. So these are the new observations. Now for these new observations, what is the mean? Okay. So now you want to find the new mean. Now number of observations remains same, n only. Okay. Observations, number of observations is not changing. What is changed? Each of the observation, its value is raised. Okay. So now what is the new mean? It is x1 plus 1 plus x2 plus 2 plus x3 plus 3 and so on up to xn plus n. Total divided by the number of observations remains same, n only. Now we want to write this, observe the options in terms of x bar and n. Okay, we want to write this new mean in terms of the average x bar given and n. So let us separate these terms. x1 plus x2 plus x3 up to xn and the remaining terms 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus up to n. I am just separating the terms. Divided by n. Okay. Now let us divide separately. x1 plus x2 up to xn divided by n plus 1 plus 2 plus up to n. We know it is n into n plus 1 by 2 divided by n. We know. So here n will get cancelled. What is x1 plus x2 up to xn divided by n? It is nothing but x bar. So the new mean is x bar plus n plus 1 by 2. X bar plus n plus 1 by 2. So the new mean is third option. X bar plus n plus 1 by 2. Okay. So let's stop our discussion here. So in the next class we will continue from here. Thank you.